Hero FinCorp presents Young Turks, 14 years.
Up next, we have Loanmeet, a peer-to-peer lending marketplace that enables credit-worthy borrowers easy access to get personal and business loans. Please welcome on stage Sunil Kumar.
Currently, about 72% of working population cannot get a personal loan from existing banks or financial institutions like NBFCs. So basically, the borrower would come, apply for a loan, and then we will run the credit check using 64 parameters that we have in place. We analyze his social profile on Facebook and LinkedIn. We also look at his 12 months of bank history to understand whether he can afford the EMI or not and what kind of spending behaviors he has. The loan is listed, and then the investors come and basically fund that loan. But the most important number that we are really proud of is the zero defaults.
So here's something that doesn't tie up. If someone's subprime, which is not banked, I'm assuming, that's 72% of people, and you say that's your target market, but you don't serve them. So I'm a little confused.
We initially want to focus on giving loans to salaried employees only.
Isn't that already being served?
So I checked that list of all the companies that are listed in that 15,000 companies. I couldn't find the name. Most MNCs, including Facebook.
How many lenders have lent into the system?
23 or so lenders have given money.
And also, what happens if there's a default?
There are procedures in place to recover that fund. There's a standing instruction in the borrower's bank account so that the funds are automatically transferred from his salary account to the lender's account in form of EMIs every month. The second thing is, if the borrower is single and relatively new to the city, we get the guarantor also in place.
That was smart, Sunil. Now, acting as a bridge between writers via web-based self-publishing platform and readers through its device-independent platform, next up we have Pratilipi.
I was born in a very small village in Raibli district of Uttar Pradesh. So much so that when I did my engineering, I became the first engineer in not just my village, but in maybe 50 or 100 villages. Post that, I did my MBA from FMS Delhi, interned with Citi in their corporate strategy vertical, worked with Vodafone in different stints, and then started Pratilipi. One of the biggest reasons why I think I have been able to do all of this is because I read. So when I started reading, I started by reading Hindi classics. Then when I went on to do my engineering and later on MBA, I realized that almost all of what I was reading was English literature, and even within that, almost 99% of times, international authors. Because one, Hindi content is simply not available that much. Even if you go to online book giants like, let's say, Amazon or Flipkart, in Indian languages, all combined Flipkart, Snapdeal and Amazon have less than 10,000 titles. Think about the Indians who can't read English, who can't understand English. Do they not deserve a right to learn? Do they not deserve the opportunity to dream? And there are 650 million of them. Out of these people, around 150 million are already on internet. Pratilipi's concept is really, really simple. It's essentially just a self-publishing platform for Indian languages. Coming to value capturing, core revenue model is essentially simple. Think of Kindle. Some content is free, some content is paid. So a writer has the ability to decide whether I want to distribute this content for free or whether I want to charge some money for the content.
Do you have a mobile offering? Do you have a mobile app?
Launching it pretty soon, hopefully.
Quick question, given that Amazon, has the Kindle and it's got an ecosystem on the demand side, do you think about yourself as a content aggregator of Indian languages that will distribute across every platform, or do you want to be a closed platform?
Okay, so we are not a distributor, we are not a content company. We are a platform. So what we would allow is, if somebody publishes his content on Amazon and distributes it to us, that's okay. Think of us as Facebook, not as Smashwords.
Huge round of applause to Ranjit. Next up, an ethical luxury label of Kashmiri scarves from Kashmir that invests a percentage of its profits or a portion of its profits into the education of its weavers' children. Please welcome on stage Bushra Bashir from Trebene.
I was born and raised in the beautiful valley of Kashmir. I spent the first 15 years of my life being exposed and immersed in a culture that celebrates the odyssey of creating handcrafted products. end consumer today does not know what authentic pashmina or Kashmir really is. At the same time, the new age affluent consumer today does not seek only exclusivity of products. They seek stories, they seek experiences as social currency to share within their peer group. So what we really do is we engage with weavers on the principles of fair trade, and the idea really is that weavers have never really reaped the benefit of their own beautiful product. And Kashmir being the birthplace of the product. So you've got Scotch from Scotland, you've got champagne from France, but you don't have Kashmir from Kashmir.
I think when you look at equity funding for a business like that, it's going to be challenging to see what the equity returns for $1 million investment would look like when you say 5 years from now is generating $2 million in revenue and let's say $1 million or so in profit. The value may not increment fast enough.
Yeah, I think that's why US is our next target for 2016, because it's logistically also simple, given that it's one country, and in terms of import duties and taxation, it's a lot easier because we're managing just one market. So we are looking to focus quite strongly in the US market in the next year.
Is part of the scale that you're looking at related to your sourcing ability, the number of weavers that you can work with and how you can ramp up?
Currently, yes. We've been lucky enough not to take on any capital expenditure right now. Thank you very much.
Moving on, next we have FRS Research Systems, an innovative startup that helps organizations cut down fraud losses and promises a superior experience to its customers at an affordable cost. Please welcome on stage Shankar from FRS.
Wherever there's a password, there's a problem, because you not only have to remember it, but it's also prone to fraud because it can easily be cracked, it can be stolen. So that's the problem that we're actually trying to solve. So there are a number of different options, and all of them in the biometric space, face, fingerprint, iris. But I think voice is what we're actually focusing initially. I think the market is huge because we're talking about 600 million people who will actually come into the banking system in the next 10 years. And banks cannot service them through branches. And the password resets, building call centers, and a lot of the problems associated with that. In terms of the revenue model, I think we're going to charge not the customers but the banks. So every time someone enrolls for the service, we charge a very nominal amount.
So when you say powerful fraud detection, how powerful is it? Like how foolproof is that recognition from a voice to a person?
In terms of accuracy, it's around 95%. So 9 out of 10 cases we can actually identify if it's the same person or not.
But that's a problem, right? I mean, if 9 out of 10 cases and you can get into a bank account, etc., it's still not good enough.
Ladies and gentlemen, time to call on our final finalist for the evening. Kato is Asia's largest crowdfunding platform for social and personal causes. Would like to add a disclaimer here. Kato is our young Turk, and we're immensely proud to see them compete at this stage of the competition. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Kunal Kapoor.
The reason that I started this was I was working very closely with NGOs, and I found there were a number of challenges that these NGOs were facing. Firstly, the cost of raising funds was very, very high. So for every 100 rupees that these NGOs raised, 45 rupees actually went into raising that money. Secondly, the challenge of reaching out to new donors was very, very difficult. And thirdly, I found that in India, the whole social space had a lot of gravity and almost grimness attached to it, which kept a lot of young people away because they felt like, look, this is not for us. So we felt like the easiest way to do that was to build a bridge between the two. And the most obvious answer was technology. We felt if we could create a platform which would make connecting these people easy, transparent and fun, then we were onto something really, really exciting.
Broadly, as you're targeting this, how much of your focus is on a social side versus sort of commercial?
The biggest, obviously, focus has to be social and individual projects because that's where most of the fundraisers happen. Creative and entrepreneurial projects are still something that are catching on. I think it will happen over time.
How much money have you guys raised, and how much do you think it takes to get to sort of where you need to get to?
Well, we are looking to raise about $5 million. That is something that will really help us scale up. Like I said, we've raised this 11 crores without any sort of marketing at all. In fact, I feel in the next 3-4 years we are looking at about $100 million per year. That's how much we are looking to raise.
Hero Film Corp presents Young Turks, 14 years.